Former Manchester United midfielder Michael Carrick has revealed he spoke with Sir Alex Ferguson on several occasions prior to accepting the managerial job at Middlesbrough. The 41-year-old, who was briefly in caretaker charge at Old Trafford last winter, prior to taking a break from the game, was announced as the Championship side's new manager on Monday. While Carrick was a member of the backroom team here under Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this is his first permanent job in management and he is keen to absorb any help offered, and what better sounding board than the most successful boss in the history of English football. I spoke to Sir Alex a few times. I've spoken to him more since I stopped playing. I didn't want to get too close to him when I was a player, Carrick told reporters at his Borough unveiling. Hugely, Carrick replied when asked how much Sir Alex has influenced him. I thought I knew football to a point until I got to United, and it taught me a whole different way of living, breathing, how to play football, how to win, and it all stemmed from the boss. He was a huge influence, improved my game, made me a better person in all sorts of different ways, so I've got a lot to thank him for. While Carrick acknowledges Ferguson was one of the best managers in the business, he also admits times have changed and that he'll be looking to forge his own style of leadership at the Riverside Stadium. Do I look like an angry Scotsman? Listen, you've got to be your own person to a point. Society and social circles are very different now to what they were some time ago. I'm well aware of that, and I think you've got to treat the individuals all differently to a point and get the best out of them individually, which he did, by the way, in different ways, so I learned a lot from that. But again, I've got to trust my instincts and not try to copy too much. I'm my own person and I'm comfortable with that.
Casemiro names Man United star he'd hate playing against, tips new signing for managerial role. Casemiro lifted the lid on his new Man United teammates in AQ&A, including naming who's got a future in management and a surprise name that's the hardest worker in training. Once Man United's move for Frenkie de Jong fell flat, Ronaldo and Ten Hag quickly turned his attention to Casemiro. The ex-Real Madrid destroyer was snapped up in a deal that could hit £70 million. However, despite a stuttering start, Casemiro is already having a big impact at Old Trafford. He's started each of United's last 5 and predictably, they've not tasted defeat in that time. He's played alongside a rotating cast of midfield partners including Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen and Fred over that span, though Casemiro has emerged as the one constant for Ten Hag. Pundit Owen Hargreaves recently claimed Casemiro is now undroppable. A brief glance over his recent displays indicate why, while Hargreaves also cited which United quartet are laying the foundation for success. Now, speaking in AQ&A held by Premier League Productions, the 30-year-old lifted the lid on his new Manchester United teammates. The midfielder was asked a variety of questions about both on and off-field matters, beginning with who's the fastest in training. Casemiro named Marcus Rashford, who has recently kept Cristiano Ronaldo out of the 11. The Portuguese has not taken his diminished role well, and his antics at the end of the 2-0 victory over Spurs have prompted a stern punishment from the club. Elsewhere, Casemiro named Lisandro Martinez as the squad's funniest player and couldn't split Jadon Sancho and Antony for most skillful. United pursued the former Ajax flyer throughout much of the summer. A deal was finally reached on deadline day after United agreed to stump up a whopping £86 million. However, 3 goals in his first 4 league matches along with a series of explosive and skillful moments suggest he may prove money well spent in the long run. On who's likeliest to become a manager, Casemiro named classy midfield playmaker, Christian Eriksen. Finally, Casemiro named the surprise figure of Bruno Fernandes as having the best engine in training. Fernandes dispels common myth. Many have questioned Fernandes' application in recent times, though those criticisms are seemingly without merit. Ten Hag himself recently lauded Fernandes for his work in defensive transitions. He also earned high praise for the leadership qualities he's showing while skippering the side in Harry Maguire's absence. Some within the media, such as ex-Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy, suggested it was unfathomable that Ten Hag would ever play Fernandes and Eriksen in the same 11. The crux of his argument centered around United not having enough legs and defensive work rate if the two played together. Clearly, in Ten Hag and Casemiro's eyes at least, Murphy's observations are wide of the mark.
There's not much that can prepare a manager for the harsh glare of the Old Trafford spotlight, and for Erik Ten Hag there was no management course that could guide him through his first few months on the job. The Dutchman was in charge of the biggest club in the Netherlands before taking over at Manchester United in May, but by comparison, the scrutiny on Ajax is minuscule compared to the column inches generated out of Old Trafford and Carrington. They are one of the most talked about clubs in world football, good or, more recently, bad, but events since the summer have been fairly relentless for Ten Hag. The disastrous start to the season immediately had him under pressure on the pitch, but off it has been Cristiano Ronaldo who has been keeping him on his toes. Ronaldo made it clear before the start of pre-season training that he wanted to leave the club and was then absent from the tour of Thailand and Australia for personal reasons. When he did return, he had an awkward confrontation with Ten Hag during the friendly with Rayo Vallecano, and after being replaced at halftime, he left Old Trafford during the second half. Since then there has been something of a delicate truce between the pair, with Ronaldo coming to terms with being on the fringes of the squad and Ten Hag trying to diffuse any sign of tension while navigating questions about the 37-year-old at almost every media appearance. The peace was shattered last week, however, with Ronaldo refusing to come on as a late substitute against Tottenham before heading down the Old Trafford tunnel before full-time and exiting the stadium. Ten Hag had little option but to act this time. Ronaldo was axed from the squad to face Chelsea at the weekend and banished from the first-team training group. He could return today, but that might depend on how talks with Ten Hag go. It has been pointed out that Ten Hag has had to face a similar issue before. In March 2018, Amin Younes refused to come on for Ajax against Heerenveen, but Younes had already agreed to a move to Napoli at the end of the season. He didn't play again for Ajax after that incident, but there is a considerable difference between handling indiscretions between Younes and Ronaldo. The first incident didn't make news outside of Holland, with Ronaldo it's made headlines right across the world. But Ten Hag has handled the situation well. He led the decision to discipline the player, receiving the backing of football director John Murtough and chief executive Richard Arnold. Ronaldo took to social media to explain his actions last week, but an apology wasn't forthcoming. Ten Hag's display of authority has gone down well in the dressing room. The 52-year-old was already getting players on side due to his clear tactical instructions and an obvious and enjoyable style of play. The improvements he's brought out of some players in the squad has also gone down well. This was his first major challenge off the pitch, however, and it couldn't have gone much better. The rest of the dressing room is now aware that Ten Hag is in charge, realizing the extent to which he's been empowered by Murtough and Arnold. There was a feeling within the squad that Ronaldo had crossed a line, even if there is sympathy for his predicament. Had Ten Hag failed to act, it might have been seen as a sign of weakness, but instead, he has earned more respect from the dressing room. What has become obvious is that Ten Hag will outlast Ronaldo at Old Trafford. If the Portuguese forward is unhappy at his status in the squad and less than enthused about what he's being asked to do, that isn't going to change anytime soon. If Ronaldo thought Ten Hag might be under pressure after a shaky start to the season, the manager has quickly emerged as an impressive figure and is arguably the most popular person at the club at the moment. The road back for Ronaldo is a difficult one now. There are 6 games left before the World Cup and his only opportunities for a start look to be in the Europa League or the Carabao Cup.
Cristiano Ronaldo has responded to claims that he threatened to storm out of Portugal's World Cup camp this week. Ronaldo was replaced by Goncalo Ramos in the Portugal lineup, and the Benfica striker justified his inclusion by netting a sensational hat-trick in his side's 6-1 demolition of Switzerland. That reportedly led to a tense exchange with national team boss Fernando Santos. Ronaldo's reported falling out with management at international level followed a similar situation at club level, having ended his relationship with Manchester United by mutual consent last month following his bombshell interview with Piers Morgan. Portuguese media outlet Record reported this week that the 37-year-old threatened to collect his belongings and walk out of Portugal's training base in Qatar in the fallout of his removal from the starting lineup, with the suggestions threatening to derail the nation's bid to win their first-ever World Cup. Ronaldo has now hit back at those allegations, referring to them as outside forces that were attempting to sabotage the nation's hopes of winning their first-ever World Cup title, days ahead of the quarter-final clash Morocco. Ronaldo posted on Twitter, alongside a photo of Portugal's players celebrating together during their round of 16 win, a group too close to be broken by outside forces. A nation too brave to let itself be frightened by any adversary. A team in the truest sense of the word, which will fight for the dream until the end. Believe with us. Strength, Portugal. A statement from the Portuguese FA read, news released this Thursday reports that Cristiano Ronaldo threatened to leave the national team during a conversation with Fernando Santos, national coach. The FPF clarifies that at no time did the captain of the national team, Cristiano Ronaldo, threaten to leave the national team during the internship in Qatar. Cristiano Ronaldo builds up a unique track record every day at the service of the national team and the country, which must be respected and which attests to the unquestionable degree of commitment to the national team. Incidentally, the degree of dedication of the player most capped by Portugal was again demonstrated, if necessary, in the victory against Switzerland, in the round of 16 of the 2022 World Cup. The national team, players, coaches and FPF structure, is, as it has been since the first day, fully committed and enthusiastic in building what the country wants to be Portugal's best ever participation in a World Cup.
Cristiano Ronaldo has slammed Erik Ten Hag's excuses and admitted his relationship with the Manchester United boss is not good. The Portuguese striker, 37, has let rip at his current club and Ten Hag over their treatment of him this season after accusing them of trying to force him out of Old Trafford. Ronaldo's decision to air his dirty laundry in a tell-all public interview with Piers Morgan looks to have brought the curtain down on his second spell at United in dramatic fashion. But Ronaldo has pointed the finger of blame at his Dutch coach, who has used him only sparingly in his team this campaign despite the five-time Ballon d'Or winner finishing as United's top scorer last term. Speaking in his interview with Morgan on Talk TV, Ronaldo fumed, "The feeling he, Ten Hag, always mentioned to me, that I didn't need the preseason so I should wait for my opportunity." Ronaldo says he understood Ten Hag's point of view, but accused his manager of double standards when it came to dealing with other players. He went on to state United were so bad the last 5 years that Ten Hag had no choice but to undertake a complete overhaul of the team or clean the house, as Ronaldo put it. However, Ronaldo feels Ten Hag used him missing preseason as an ongoing excuse to leave him out of the team. "I really understand in the beginning because I didn't do the preseason, I don't start to play," Ronaldo said. But going more further than that, other things happen that people don't know. And I'm not hiding that the empathy with the coach is not good. I'm honest. Ronaldo was left on the bench in the 6-2 thrashing by Manchester City despite United being 4 down at halftime, only for Ten Hag to claim he didn't bring the striker on out of respect. Fast forward 2 weeks and Ten Hag asked Ronaldo to enter the field with just 3 minutes remaining of the 2-0 win against Tottenham. The tensions between the pair clearly got too much for Ronaldo and boiled over as he refused to come on and stormed down the tunnel and out of the stadium, an incident which he has since apologized to his teammates for and admits was a mistake. Yet he still feels Ten Hag, who made Ronaldo captain for several games thereafter, was in the wrong for showing him a clear lack of respect. "He doesn't respect me the way I should deserve to be respected. But it is what it is. This is why probably, the game against Tottenham, I left," Ronaldo said. Venting his anger at the decision against Man City, Ronaldo continued, "Excuses, I see as excuses. I saw many things that, I don't want to criticize him. He can have a different opinion than me. They choose the players that they think is better for the team. I respect that, but excuses all the time, the excuses have short legs, cannot excuse all the time, which is things that don't make sense. Okay, you don't put me against Manchester City because of respect of your career and you want to put me 3 minutes against Tottenham. It doesn't make sense." He added, "I think he did it on purpose because, for example, in a national team the other clubs, if the coach wants to put me on 4-5 minutes, if someone is injured or if they really need me, I will help. But in that way I felt provoked not only because of that game, but before." Cristiano Ronaldo has slammed Erik Ten Hag's excuses and admitted his relationship with the Manchester United boss is not good. The Portuguese striker, 37, has let rip at his current club and Ten Hag over their treatment of him this season after accusing them of trying to force him out of Old Trafford. Ronaldo's decision to air his dirty laundry in a tell-all public interview with Piers Morgan looks to have brought the curtain down on his second spell at United in dramatic fashion. But Ronaldo has pointed the finger of blame at his Dutch coach, who has used him only sparingly in his team this campaign despite the five-time Ballon d'Or winner finishing as United's top scorer last term. Speaking in his interview with Morgan on Talk TV, Ronaldo fumed, "The feeling he, Ten Hag, always mentioned to me, that I didn't need the preseason so I should wait for my opportunity." Ronaldo says he understood Ten Hag's point of view, but accused his manager of double standards when it came to dealing with other players. He went on to state United were so bad the last 5 years that Ten Hag had no choice but to undertake a complete overhaul of the team or clean the house, as Ronaldo put it. However, Ronaldo feels Ten Hag used him missing pre-season as an ongoing excuse to leave him out of the team. "I really understand in the beginning because I didn't do the pre-season, I don't start to play," Ronaldo said. But going further than that. Other things happen that people don't know. And I'm not hiding that the empathy with the coach is not good. I'm honest. Ronaldo was left on the bench in the 6-2 thrashing by Manchester City despite United being 4 down at half-time, only for Ten Hag to claim he didn't bring the striker on out of respect. Fast forward 2 weeks and Ten Hag asked Ronaldo to enter the field with just 3 minutes remaining of the 2-0 win against Tottenham. The tensions between the pair clearly got too much for Ronaldo and boiled over as he refused to come on and stormed down the tunnel and out of the stadium, an incident which he has since apologized to his teammates for and admits was a mistake. Yet he still feels Ten Hag, who made Ronaldo captain for several games thereafter, was in the wrong for showing him a clear lack of respect. "He doesn't respect me the way I should deserve to be respected. But it is what it is. This is why probably, the game against Tottenham, I left," Ronaldo said. Venting his anger at the decision against Man City, Ronaldo continued, "Excuses, I see as excuses. I saw many things that, I don't want to criticize him. He can have a different opinion than me. They choose the players that they think is better for the team. I respect that, but excuses all the time, the excuses have short legs, cannot excuse all the time, which is things that don't make sense. Okay, you don't put me against Manchester City because of respect of your career and you want to put me 3 minutes against Tottenham. It doesn't make sense." He added, "I think he did it on purpose because, for example, in a national team the other clubs, if the coach wants to put me on 4-5 minutes, if someone is injured or if they really need me, I will help. But in that way I felt provoked not only because of that game, but before."
The wife of forward Dries started their World Cup campaign and a worrying 2-goal group stage defeat against Morocco. That result followed on from a highly unconvincing opening game victory over Canada, who were largely superior to the third-placed finishers from 4 years ago. While the Red Devils were among the favourites for that tournament in Russia, their aging squad has seen their stock fall this time round. Many of Belgium's star players are no longer in the prime period in their careers, with many now over the age of 30, while the dressing room fractures are also said to include Eden Hazard, whose career has regressed since swapping Chelsea for Real Madrid in 2019. Belgium star De Bruyne had claimed in an interview that Martinez's side were outsiders to win the tournament in Qatar, insisting that they were a group of players whose peak had passed. "No chance, we're too old. I think our chance was 2018. We have a good team, but it is aging. We lost some key players. We have some good new players coming, but they are not at the level other players were in 2018. I see us more as outsiders." Former Spurs defender Vertonghen did not appreciate De Bruyne's comments, which he used to mock the Manchester City star's influence in the final third. "I guess we attack badly because we are also too old up front," claimed the 35-year-old. Martinez confessed his surprise at De Bruyne's assessment, insisting it was not beneficially. He said, "This is the first time I've heard those comments from Kevin. At a World Cup, the players have to speak to the media every day. 90% of it will be positive, but there are always 1 or 2 lines that don't fit into the context. A player is at Mertens' dressing room. Speaking on the Mid-Mondial podcast, Kirchhoffs explained, "That was really awkward. The players were logically still very disappointed." Before adding, "For full context, but I thought it was strange to read that there are tensions within the group. The next morning everyone said hello to each other with a kiss. They do all that. So I think they are all super sweet to each other." Belgium conclude their group stage against Croatia on Thursday, knowing that only a win will guarantee their progression through to the round of 16 knockout stage. Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag warned Harry Maguire he will not stroll back into the Red Devils' back four. The £85 million central defender put in an array of very positive performances during Gareth Southgate's side's run to the World Cup quarter-finals. He started every match for the Three Lions, forming a very impressive defensive partnership with Manchester City ace John Stones. Considering the immense criticism he was facing in the build-up to the tournament, it would be very fair to say he managed to prove a lot of his doubters wrong.
First of all, of course, I have to coach him. I have to back him. But I back him because I believe in him. And
However, that does not mean Ten Hag will automatically grant him a place alongside Rafael Varane or Lisandro Martinez in the backline. Only when he doesn't want to be in these circumstances anymore, Ten Hag said, when asked if there is a chance that Maguire could depart the club. Until that moment, I am happy with him. While the former Leicester City defender has had to battle a hamstring injury this season, he has still only made 4 Premier League appearances out of a possible 14.
Also to do with a good performance from the centre-backs who are playing now. But I can see the qualities, and even after he was not in the team, he trained really well. But what more important, the quality was really there. And you see his career, he's, I think, almost 50 caps for England. He already with Leicester, with Man United, he's performing really well. So what you see, he has a high potential.
Summer signing Martinez and French defender Varane appear to be Ten Hag's preferred partnership in the back four. Nevertheless, Ten Hag insisted Maguire does have the quality to star at the highest level for United. I can only battle this after being asked many times if he is good enough, Ten Hag added. It is clear he is good enough to play at the highest level. Then it is up to him to show that confidence on the pitch, and he didn't show that in all the games. We want him to bring that back to Manchester with him so he can bring it on the pitch for United.
United sealed a place in the Europa League knockout stages on Thursday with a 3-0 victory over FC Sheriff, after Diogo Dalot, Marcus Rashford and Cristiano Ronaldo all netted. But the moment that really set tongues wagging was when £85 million signing Antony performed a 720-degree turn. At 0-0 in the first half, the 22-year-old Brazilian whipped out his trademark showboating move, before playing a pass towards an onrushing Casemiro. His attempt went straight out of play and the dribbler was substituted off at half-time in favor of Rashford. It left co-commentator Robbie Savage unimpressed, with the ex-midfielder calling it ridiculous and quite embarrassing. While fans at Old Trafford cheered the eye-catching skill, others on social media shared Savage's feelings. One Twitter user wrote, "He has more showboating skills than actual take-on skills. He seems more of a freestyler than a footballer." Another brutally added, 100 million for a fidget spinner. United manager Ten Hag refrained from slamming his player in his post-match press conference. But the Dutchman, who is no stranger to Antony's tricks from their time together at Ajax, admitted he would need to correct the winger. Ten Hag said in his post-match press conference, "I do not have a problem with that, as long as it is functional. So from him, like everyone else, I demand more. More runs behind, being more often in the opposition's box. More pressing. More dribbles against opponents. More playing in the pockets. We demand more dominance. Then there is a trick like that which is nice, but as long as it is functional and you do not lose the ball, then it is okay. But it is a trick, and because of the trick, I will correct him."
Yeah, so I think we've made it clear as a team and the staff and an organisation that we want to wear the armband. I know the FA are talking to FIFA at the moment, and I'm sure by game time tomorrow they'll have their decision.
Harry Kane could miss England's final World Cup group game as FIFA threatened to book captains wearing One Love armband. The Lions skipper is one of 9 captains who has vowed to stand against host nation Qatar's anti-LGBT laws by wearing the multicolored heart armband. It comes as the Football Association confirmed England's players will take the knee during the tournament and remain determined that Kane will wear the armband as a gesture of equality. Football executives are said to be seeking clarity from FIFA about the punishments, after new laws were introduced surrounding equipment and apparel worn by players. It's but the latest in a string of controversies that have marred the tournament, the most prominent of which concerns Qatar's human rights record. Homosexuality remains outlawed in the Gulf state, with those convicted facing up to 7 years in prison. The wearing of the armband by skippers is intended to highlight the issue. The tournament's opening ceremony, which took place on Sunday evening, featured actor Morgan Freeman, as well as US pop star Nicki Minaj, K-pop superstars BTS, and British artist Robbie Williams. Taking place in front of the Qatari royal family, images depicted rows of empty seats inside the Al Bayt Stadium. Williams was one of a growing list of stars to come under fire for endorsing Qatar in recent days in spite of their human rights record. It also follows claims by The Guardian that 6,500 migrants have died in Qatar since construction began on facilities ahead of the World Cup. Former England captain and worldwide footballing icon David Beckham also faced criticism for his support of the Gulf States tournament in what's rumoured to be a deal worth £10 million. Recent days saw widespread outrage at celebrity endorsements, with comedian Joe Lycett following through with his threat to shred £10,000 of his own money if Beckham went ahead with the scheduled appearance. England's first Group B game is set to be against Iran on Monday, with the skipper facing the prospect of a yellow card if he wears the armband as planned. It comes as the host nation took on Ecuador, a game which saw the Arab nation lose 2-0 in a match which had the lowest number of goal opportunities since stats began in 1966. Fans could be seen exiting the stadium at halftime, without returning. Speaking live on air, BBC pundit and Newcastle striker Alan Shearer labelled a Winter World Cup weird. He later pushed back on criticism by FIFA President Gianni Infantino, who yesterday accused Western nations of hypocrisy and noting they were not in any position to give moral lessons. Infantino delivered the extraordinary hour-long speech in a pre-tournament press conference, declaring, "Today I feel gay, and I feel like a migrant worker," before taking aim at European critics of Qatar. Shearer's comments follow fellow pundit Gary Neville labelling the FIFA president the worst face to represent the Qatar World Cup following the controversial monologue on Saturday. He also called on the governing body, which was disgraced following an investigation into vote buying, to clean up its act.
Manchester United fans have been reacting to reports that defender Raphael Varane is set to be sidelined for 3 weeks after going off injured against Chelsea on Saturday. Erik Ten Hag's side came from behind to salvage a draw against the London outfit at Stamford Bridge, despite falling behind in the 87th minute through Jorginho's penalty. The Reds grabbed an equaliser courtesy of a fantastic header from Casemiro deep into injury time. Despite the result, United were impressive against Graham Potter's men and delivered another good performance to continue their run of good form in recent weeks. One negative from the match was the injury to centre-back Varane, with the Frenchman limping off the pitch with an injury in the 60th minute. The 29-year-old, who has formed a strong partnership with Lisandro Martinez this term, was also taken off in the Derby defeat by Manchester City earlier this month. Though it's yet to be confirmed how serious Varane's injury is, the defender was visibly emotional as he left the pitch on Saturday and struggled to hold back the tears. However, according to L'Equipe journalist Loic Tanzi, the former Real Madrid star is set to miss just 3 weeks of action. The report adds that there is still hope that he will be named in France's World Cup squad. United fans have expressed their relief at the reports coming out of France, especially given Varane's reaction as he left the pitch.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino hit out at criticism of Qatar from Europe on the eve of the World Cup. The game's global governing body has been attacked for its decision to take the finals to Qatar, where the treatment of migrant workers and the rights of LGBTQ+ people have been in the spotlight. Ahead of the opening game of the tournament on Sunday, Infantino said, "We have told many lessons from some Europeans, from the Western world. I think for what we Europeans have been doing the last 3,000 years, we should be apologizing for next 3,000 years before starting to give moral lessons to people. Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arabic. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay. Today I feel disabled. Today I feel like a migrant worker." Infantino added, "Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arabic. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay. Today I feel disabled. Today I feel like a migrant worker. Of course I am not Qatari, I am not an Arab, I am not African, I am not gay, I am not disabled. But I feel like it, because I know what it means to be discriminated, to be bullied, as a foreigner in a foreign country. As a child I was bullied because I had red hair and freckles, plus I was Italian, so imagine. What do you do then? You try to engage, make friends. Don't start accusing, fighting, insulting, you start engaging. And this is what we should be doing.
Lionel Messi continues his bid for the only major trophy missing from his career on Friday evening when Argentina faced the Netherlands in the 2022 World Cup quarter-finals. Argentina were billed as one of the tournament favourites ahead of arriving in Qatar, and after an early setback with the shock opening defeat to Saudi Arabia, the Copa America champions have started to look like contenders. Messi has been a key reason behind Argentina's turnaround, scoring the opening goal in the 2-0 win over Mexico before a dominant display in the subsequent Group C victory against Poland. The Paris Saint-Germain superstar, who is expected to begin talks over a new contract with the club after the World Cup, maintained his form with his third goal of the tournament in the 2-1 win over Australia in the last 16. As Messi himself said, Argentina are preparing for an even tougher match against the Netherlands on Friday when two giants of world football go head-to-head at the Lusail Stadium. Ahead of the match, Messi and his Argentina teammates put the final touches on their preparations with a training session at Qatar University on Thursday evening. Check out.
Manchester City have reportedly set their sights on recruiting Arsenal attacker Bukayo Saka and Borussia Dortmund midfielder Jude Bellingham. The England duo were both standout performers for Gareth Southgate's side at the 2022 World Cup before their journey in Qatar was ultimately ended by current holders France in the quarter-finals. Saka and Bellingham have both been linked with moves away from their respective clubs, particularly the latter, who is set to become one of the most sought-after midfielders when the transfer window reopens in the new year. Speculation surrounding both players is set to intensify in 2023. And according to 90 Minutes, Man City are drawing up plans to strengthen their squad by signing the two England stars. The report adds that the citizens have held an interest in Saka for some time and are taking an active interest in the 21-year-old's contract negotiations with Arsenal. Saka has developed into a key player for the Gunners under head coach Mikel Arteta and has established himself as a first-team regular since making his senior debut in November 2018. The Hale End Academy graduate has contributed with 28 goals and 35 assists in 151 appearances for Arsenal across all competitions, including 5 goals and 6 assists in 20 matches so far this season. However, Saka's long-term future at the Emirates Stadium is believed to be uncertain, as he now has just 18 months remaining on his current contract. Arteta has previously affirmed that he is very confident Saka will commit his future to the Gunners, who are allegedly prepared to triple the winger's £70,000 a week wages with a bumper new contract offer. The potential lure of representing Premier League champions Man City could tempt Saka, though, as well as the prospect of working under manager Pep Guardiola, who recently committed his future to the Etihad Stadium until 2025. Should Saka fail to agree fresh terms over a new contract with Arsenal, it is thought that City will be given the green light to pursue a transfer for the winger in 2023. Meanwhile, the citizens are also in a hotly contested race for the signature of 19-year-old Bellingham, who is said to be considering his options ahead of a possible exit from Dortmund in the new year. The report from 90 Minutes states that City will only attempt to persuade Bellingham to join the club if they believe they have a genuine chance of securing his services. However, Guardiola's side are set to face stern competition from the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain for his signature. Bellingham, who is believed to be a primary target for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, has excelled during his time at BVB, recording 19 goals and 21 assists in 112 appearances across all competitions, and has emerged as a leader within the first-team group. The teenager is thought to be valued at around £130 million and is under contract until the summer of 2025, with Dortmund still hopeful that they can tie him down to a new deal. Man City star Phil Foden recently talked up Bellingham as one of the most gifted players that he has ever seen and believes he is destined to become the best midfielder in world football.
Man United boss Erik Ten Hag planning to replace Cristiano Ronaldo with Portugal teammate. Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag is weighing up the idea of signing Atletico Madrid striker João Felix as a replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo in January, according to reports. The latter's immediate future at Old Trafford is currently up in the air due to a falling out with Ten Hag earlier this week after he refused to come on as a substitute during United's win over Tottenham. Ronaldo's contract is also set to expire at the end of the season, but recent events have accelerated the possibility of the five-time Ballon d'Or winner leaving when the transfer market reopens in January. It seems as though Ten Hag is already scouring the market to find Ronaldo's eventual successor at United, with the Dutchman having identified Felix as a potential option to chase at the turn of the year, according to AS. It is said that Felix has already asked to leave Atletico on 3 occasions and is hellbent on finally joining a new club in January after falling out of favor with Diego Simeone. The Portuguese forward has played just 37 minutes of football in Atletico's last 6 matches and has grown frustrated with life on the bench, although the club's hierarchy would prefer for him to depart at the end of the season. This has not deterred United, though, with the Red Devils planning to mount an approach in January after contacting Atletico to register their interest in his services. However, a successful move for Felix in the mid-season window is likely to be complicated, with a strong showing at the upcoming World Cup almost certain to increase his valuation in the market.
Manchester United are in talks with Cody Gakpo's representatives about a January move for the PSV and Netherlands star, according to reports. The 23-year-old forward has been one of the breakout stars of World Cup 2022 so far, scoring in all 3 of the Orange Group games to go joint top of the tournament scoring charts. Move in the summer, and Fabrizio Romano reports that a January switch is possible. Although PSV's original plan was to sell him in the summer, they could choose to cash in after a World Cup that will have boosted Gakpo's value from the original €50 million they wanted. Romano says 3 or 4 clubs are in the race. United are in talks with Gakpo's agents, who they have a fantastic relationship with, as they are also the representatives of Erik Ten Hag. No official bids have been submitted yet, but Liverpool and Real Madrid are among the other clubs to have shown interest. Leeds United and Southampton were in the race for Gakpo's signature over the summer, but Romano says now it's almost impossible for them to get a deal done. Gakpo has been involved in 30 goals in 24 appearances for PSV this season in all competitions, scoring 13 and setting up 17. He's valued at €45 million by Transfermarkt, although his form in Qatar could see that figure rise.
Patrice Evra explains why Cristiano Ronaldo stormed down the tunnel during Manchester United's win over Tottenham. Patrice Evra has suggested Cristiano Ronaldo may have had a legitimate reason for walking down the tunnel early during Manchester United's victory over Tottenham. Goals from Fred and Bruno Fernandes sealed a 2-0 win for United at Old Trafford as Erik Ten Hag's side turned in arguably the best performance of the season.
I think everyone is different, and I want to stay on the United performance. It's not to protect Cristiano or whatever. We don't know if he even say to Ten Hag, I'm going in, and we're going to make a story just showing him walking. Maybe he say to Ten Hag, I'm going inside because I need to do some treatment or whatever. So I don't want to find any excuse, but I want to be focused more on the performance of United, and we have to stop talking every day about Cristiano.
Marcus Rashford led United's attack with Ronaldo an unused substitute. As United were seeing out a huge victory, however, Ronaldo was seen leaving the dugout and heading down the tunnel with 89 minutes on the clock. While the incident enraged some United supporters, former United defender Evra and Arsenal legend Thierry Henry opted to reserve judgment. Evra suggested Ronaldo may have headed to the dressing room early to receive some treatment, calling for focus to remain on the team performance. Everyone is different. I want to say on the performance, it's not to protect Cristiano or whatever, Evra told Amazon Prime. We don't know if he even said to Ten Hag, I'm going in and we're going to make a story just showing him walking. Maybe he said to Ten Hag, I need to go inside to do some treatment, so I don't want to find any excuses. But I want to be focused more on the performance of United, and we have to stop talking every day about Cristiano. Henry meanwhile played down suggestions that Ronaldo's antics had made him the center of attention after what was a vital win for Ten Hag's side. It is a job the manager is going to have to deal with. But there was a game, a magnificent game for Manchester United. The story shouldn't be Ronaldo walking off. Asked by presenter Gabby Logan if it is Ronaldo making the story, Henry added, not for me. Quizzed on the incident post-match, Ten Hag told Amazon Prime, "I've seen him. I didn't speak to him after. I'll deal with that tomorrow." United remain in 5th place despite Wednesday's win and are a point behind 4th place Chelsea, who they face on Saturday.
We lost because we make a mistake. We play one of the best teams in the world. Play 3 Champions League finals or 2-3 times in 4 or 5 years. So it's an exceptional team. I admire them a lot and that well. So it's so tight in the margins. See Champions League when we lost 3-0 here and what happened here and many, many times. So it's that. So today is play on, play on, play on, play on. It's okay. It's on both sides. Jurgen was upset, I was upset. It was clear, fine, play on, play on. When we score a goal, it's not play on. So that is the truth. This is the reality.
Marcus Rashford says that it took him about a year to come to terms as representing his boyhood club. Despite scoring 4 goals in his first 2 games at the Theatre of Dreams, against everything that's tough to try and find a fine line, because it definitely affects your performance and your decision-making. It's weird. It's obviously impossible, but I have to try and block. You can't be on that roller coaster. One game at Anfield caused at fullback. I've gone to block it and I just took him out, like 2 seconds after he's kicked the ball. I just remember all the fans shouting, "Off, off." I didn't think to 20 games for the club, so I thought I could deal with it, but that was a moment where I realized it, the emotion, was something you have to work on. As for Old Trafford, Rashford says it took him around 12 months to find the right way to channel his huge connection with the fans and the state. It took me probably a year for me to be able to fully do it, he admits. Going
Romelu Lukaku punched the dugout and left the pitch in tears after Belgium were eliminated from World Cup 2022 on Thursday. The striker missed at least 3 good chances as his nation drew 0-0 with Croatia, finishing third in the group behind their opponents and Morocco. At full-time, a visibly upset Lukaku was consoled by Belgium's assistant coach Thierry Henry, before punching the plastic shielding off the dugout. The Red Devils entered the World Cup second in the FIFA World Rankings but crashed out at the group stage after scoring just 1 goal.
Sergio Aguero has offered some useful advice to his friend Lionel Messi that he picked up from his playing days at Manchester City. Aguero was forced to retire after leaving City for Barcelona for health reasons, also cutting short his Argentina career. As a result, he is at the Qatar World Cup as a fan, as his former international teammates have reached the quarter-final following a last-16 victory over Australia on Saturday. Argentina faces the Netherlands in the quarter-finals. Aguero expects talisman and friend Messi to play an influential role in the clash. Messi will get his toughest test of the World Cup so far when he comes up against Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk, and Aguero leaned on his own experiences of playing against the Dutchman to offer Messi a suggestion of how to approach the quarter-final. He told ESPN Argentina, "Van Dijk is not fast, he has long legs, 10 sprints from me are 2 from him. You have to distract him with something else, someone to yell at him from the stands. If I'm there, I'll start talking to him there. He's big." Once in the Premier League, he said that the most difficult to score was me. He plays with your physique, that is, he is measuring you and you have to find a maneuver for him and do it to him so that he eats it because he is not one to go out and push. He lets you receive, he waits for you to throw him the long ball and he puts your body in and by. He plays like that.
Manchester United went in 1-0 up at halftime to Sheriff Tiraspol, thanks to Diogo Dalot's opener. Our Portuguese right-back was on the end of Christian Eriksen's corner to head home just before the break. Since joining the Reds in 2018, it is the second time he has found the net in a competitive fixture. And if you're wondering about his celebration, Dalot revealed the reasoning behind it to United Review, the official matchday program, last year. "Ah yes, check the pulse," he said in 2021. "It's a funny thing. I had a couple of friends in the national team and we were playing Uno and, when we are putting down the +4 cards, everybody was like this, points to neck, because we didn't have any more +4 cards. It's an original thing, it's not something I've seen before and it's a good one. I will definitely do it for my next goal."
Wojciech Szczęsny has revealed he'd bet Lionel Messi a penalty wouldn't be awarded for the incident between the two in Argentina's match with Poland on Wednesday. Towards the end of the first half of the game, Messi went down in the box after being brushed by Szczęsny's hand as the goalkeeper tried to claim a cross. Referee Danny Mackley initially didn't award a penalty but somewhat surprisingly changed his mind after being told by VAR to review the incident on the pitchside monitor. Szczęsny was as shocked as anyone about the decision, revealing that while the referee was re-watching the incident, he bet Messi that a penalty wouldn't be given. "We spoke before the penalty, I told him I can bet him €100 that he wasn't going to give it. So I've lost a bet against Messi," he said after the match. "I don't know if that's allowed at the World Cup. I'm probably going to get banned for it. I don't care right now. I'm not going to pay him either. He doesn't care about €100, come on." The Polish keeper saved the penalty with a stunning stop and, while his nation still lost the match 2-0 and were usurped into first place in Group C by Argentina, that save proved to be absolutely crucial. They progressed to the round of 16 because they'd conceded a goal fewer than Mexico, making their goal difference superior. Next up, they'll face France and will need to produce an improved performance to stand a chance of progressing.
Premier League's worst ever penalty takers as Riyad Mahrez joins 5 former Man United stars. Christian Benteke, 67%. Often mocked for going months without scoring a goal, Christian Benteke isn't the best penalty taker, missing a third of his 15 efforts in the Premier League. He's not faring much better at DC United, either, seeing a spot kick saved on his full debut in September. Bentik's most memorable miss came against Bournemouth in December 2017 when he went against the orders of Crystal Palace boss Roy Hodgson and wrestled the ball of a teammate to take a last-minute penalty, only to see his effort saved in the 2-2 draw. Riyad Mahrez, 67%. And here he is. Mahrez seems to take a lot of penalties for Man City, and the stats suggest it's time for Guardiola to have a word. He scored 12 of his 18 spot kicks in the Premier League, with only 5 players boasting a worse success rate. Mahrez is also known for missing penalties in big games. He did so in Man City's 2-2 draw against West Ham in May, bad timing considering their title charge, and blazed a spot kick over in a goalless draw against title rivals Liverpool in October 2018. Paul Pogba, 64%. Speaking of Man United players who can't score from the spot, Paul Pogba's penalty record in the Premier League is pretty rubbish, scoring just 7 of his 11 attempts. It's no surprise he didn't take that many spot kicks during his time at Old Trafford. Pogba's most memorable miss came against Everton in October 2018 when he produced an 11-second run-up, literally taking tiny steps towards the ball only to find Jordan Pickford's left arm. The Frenchman did make it up for it by scoring the rebound, though. Michael Owen, 67%. It's hard to picture Michael Owen taking a penalty, as most people remember him for his rapid pace and his daughter being on Love Island. Yet the former England hero did take a spot kick every now and again, scoring 14 of his 21 efforts in the Premier League. After missing 10 out of 23 penalties for the Reds, in all competitions, Michael Owen won't be troubling LFC TV's Top 10 list of Liverpool's most prolific spot kick takers, read a sassy social media post by Liverpool in 2010. When Owen was a Man United player. Kevin Phillips, 61%. Kevin Phillips scored 282 goals during his glittering career and won the European Golden Shoe after finding the net 30 times during the 1999-2000 campaign, although his penalty record wasn't the best. He scored just 11 of his 18 Premier League spot kicks. Yet Phillips did score penalties when it mattered, famously tucking away a winner in the 2013 Championship playoff final against Watford to send Palace into the Premier League. Selhurst Park has remained a top-flight ground ever since. Teddy Sheringham, 68% success rate. A surprise name in the top 10. Teddy Sheringham is remembered as one of the Premier League's greatest scorers, finding the net 146 times in 418 appearances in the competition. He was also trusted from the spot, taking 31 penalties during his Premier League career. Yet Sheringham's conversion rate wasn't the best, finding the net just 21 times. He even missed a penalty on his Premier League debut for Manchester United against his ex-club Tottenham in August 1997, although he made up for it by scoring 2 late goals. Wayne Rooney, 68%. Another shock inclusion. Wayne Rooney is the second highest scorer in Premier League history with 208 goals, but he would have been closer to Alan Shearer's tally of 260 if he was more prolific from the spot. Rooney missed a joint record 11 penalties in the competition. Who do you think the worst penalty taker in Premier League history is? Let us know in the comments below. In fairness to Rooney, he does share that record with Shearer. He also took a whopping 34 penalties in the Premier League. Rooney's greatest penalty miss came for Man United against Chelsea in September 2011 when he slipped to blaze an effort way over the bar. Dwight Yorke, 60%. Dwight Yorke found the net 123 times in the Premier League for Aston Villa, Man United, Blackburn, Birmingham City and Sunderland, but that tally could have been higher if he could score from 12 yards out. The ex-striker scored only 6 of his 10 Premier League penalties. Yet Villa fans will struggle to forget Yorke's audacious spot kick against Arsenal in May 1998, as he produced a Panenka to chip the ball over a helpless David Seaman. After you've scored a penalty that good, do you really need to score another? Juan Pablo Angel, 50%. Remembered as the worst penalty taker in Premier League history, Juan Pablo Angel scored only 5 of his 10 penalties in the competition during his 6-and-a-bit-year spell at Villa. He was a decent striker for the West Midlands club, just not from 12 yards. There aren't many memorable misses from Angel, yet the fact he only scored half of his Premier League penalties can't be overlooked. For those of you wondering, only one player has a 100% record in the competition, minimum 10 penalties, Yaya Touré. The Man City legend converted all 11 of his efforts. Ivan Toney is well on his way as well, having nonchalantly stroked home his first 8.